The untold struggles behind Apple's rise. What do you do when the world tells you your dreams are impossible? When every step you take seems to lead you further away from success? Do you give up, or do you keep pushing forward, even when failure feels inevitable? Apple's journey to becoming one of the most valuable companies in the world wasn't paved with smooth roads and easy wins. It's the story of a man who faced rejection, failure, and unimaginable struggles, but never gave up. It's the story of Steve Jobs, whose resilience, belief in his vision, and relentless pursuit of greatness transformed not only Apple, but the entire tech industry. In 1976, Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and Ronald Wayne founded Apple in a small garage, filled with nothing but ideas and a dream to change the world. At the time, the personal computer industry was in its infancy, and the world was not ready for the kind of technology they wanted to build. Computers were large, intimidating, and expensive, meant only for experts. But Jobs saw beyond the limitations of the present. He saw a future where technology could be accessible to everyone. He envisioned a world where computers weren't just tools for the elite, but extensions of the individual. Their first product, the Apple I, wasn't the commercial hit. It was a basic machine, with no case, keyboard, or monitor. But it was a beginning. Jobs and Wozniak believed in it with everything they had, and even though sales were slow and resources were tight, they pressed on. The breakthrough came in 1977 with the Apple II, a fully functional personal computer. It was a success. But even with the momentum building, the journey ahead was far from easy. By 1980, Apple had gone public. The pressure was immense. Jobs, who was still in his 20s, now had to balance the demands of running a company with the expectations of shareholders. The stakes were high, but success was never guaranteed. As Apple's growth accelerated, internal struggles began. Jobs' perfectionism, his obsession with details, and his fiery personality led to conflicts with others in the company. Jobs wasn't just about building products. He wanted to build something that would change the world, and that vision often clashed with the realities of business. In 1984, Apple launched the Macintosh, a revolutionary product that would change the way people interacted with computers. It was the first computer with a graphical user interface, making it much easier to use. The Macintosh was innovative, but it wasn't an instant success. Sales were disappointing, and the computer industry wasn't ready to embrace the shift that Jobs had in mind. It was a painful setback for Jobs, who had poured his heart and soul into the product. The competition was fierce, with IBM dominating the market and Microsoft emerging as a new force to be reckoned with. But the greatest blow came in 1985, when, after a series of internal battles, Jobs was ousted from Apple. He was devastated. The company he had built from the ground up, the company he had bled for, was now taking a direction he didn't believe in. It felt like the end of the road. In an emotional farewell, Jobs left Apple, not knowing what would come next. For a man who had devoted his entire life to Apple, it was more than just a career loss. It was a personal loss. Jobs could have walked away. He could have given up. But that's not who he was. Instead of retreating, he chose to rebuild. He founded Next, a new company that focused on high-end computers for the education and business sectors. At the same time, he bought a small animation company called Pixar. It was a difficult time for Jobs. Next wasn't a massive success, and Pixar, though it had potential, was a struggling company. Jobs invested his own money and heart into both ventures, betting everything he had on these new ideas. But it wasn't easy. Next didn't take off as expected, and Pixar's early days were filled with doubts. Jobs was facing financial ruin, his personal life was strained, and he was emotionally drained. He had lost everything once, and it felt like he might lose again. But Jobs didn't give up. He learned from his past failures. He redefined his approach, both to business and to life. The personal growth he experienced during these years was crucial. In 1996, Apple, on the brink of collapse, acquired Next, and Jobs was brought back into the company. It was a chance for a fresh start, but the road ahead was daunting. Apple was in deep financial trouble. It had lost its way, and Jobs had to make difficult decisions to bring the company back from the edge. The company had spread itself too thin, And Jobs knew that the only way to save it was to focus on what mattered most: innovation. The first breakthrough came in 2001 with the launch of the iPod. The iPod wasn't just a product, it was a game changer. Jobs had seen an opportunity to combine music with technology in a way that no one else had. But launching the iPod was just the beginning. It wasn't just about creating a product, it was about creating an ecosystem, one that would tie everything together. He pushed his team to create an experience that people would love, and in doing so, he revolutionized the way people listen to music. But the most important moment in Apple's history came in 2007 with the introduction of the iPhone. The iPhone wasn't just a phone. It was a device that combined a phone, an iPod, and an internet browser all in one. Jobs had the vision to create something that would change the way people lived, and he succeeded. It was a risky move, but it paid off. The iPhone was a massive success, and Apple's rise was unstoppable. Steve Jobs, the man who was once kicked out of the company he founded, was now at the helm of one of the most powerful companies in the world. His journey was not easy. He had faced rejection, failure, and moments of despair. But through it all, he never gave up. He didn't just build a company. He built a legacy. Jobs' story isn't just about technology. It's about the power of perseverance. It's about learning from failure and rising again, no matter how many times you fall. He showed the world that failure isn't the end. It's just another step in the journey. Apple didn't become the giant it is today because everything went smoothly. It became great because Steve Jobs never gave up, even when the world told him he should. So, the next time you face an obstacle or a setback, remember Steve Jobs' story. Remember that true success isn't about avoiding failure. It's about embracing it, learning from it, and refusing to let go of your vision. If you can do that, you too can change the world just like Jobs did.